This podcast contains detailed plot spoilers, adult language, and mature themes. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to a podcast of Rare Antiquities. We are continuing our review of WandaVision, and today episode 7 premiered, and we're gonna dive deep on this one, or as deep as we can, because I'm not really sure how deep this episode actually went. So
only to the basement. That's as deep as it went.
That's right.
Only
Deep.
To the basement. That's right. That's right. So how are you guys? We'll just do a quick round table again, even though we already went through this off before. But you guys go ahead.
No, good, man. Yeah, what do you say these days? You know, every day we're alive and healthy, it's a good day.
I'll say I had a pretty good day. I set up my new Xbox, and then
Did you get an Xbox?
I did. I was able to score one.
Nice.
Set it up, and then promptly watched YouTube, which is $600 well invested. No, actually, I did play some video games on it. You know, it's funny, a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, The Onion had this article about how video gamers were forgetting how to play the games because the loading screens were so fast you couldn't read the hints anymore. I mean, it's almost that true where like the loading, like the game I was playing, Assassin's Creed, you know, fast travel or just loading a new game would take forever. And boom, it's just like lightning fast. It's like 2 or 3 seconds. It's crazy.
Did you get a chance to finally play Cyberpunk though?
No, it takes like 12 hours to install. So I did that while I was working. True. So I'm going to give that, I'm going to check that out tomorrow. I mean, I played like about an hour on my Xbox One, but yeah, I'm going to give it a shot tomorrow, I think.
Well, to let you know, Nathan, you're welcome about your Xbox. Because did you get it from EB Games?
No, I got it off of the Microsoft site.
Microsoft site. Oh, okay. No, because EB Games gave me a call today and said, because a long time ago I I just put my name on a wait list just for kicks, and they said, "Oh, your Xbox is in today," and I said, "Nah."
What a guy. You should have fucking taken it and sold it if you didn't want it, you dummy.
Why? Oh, so you want me to be one of those guys?
Well, I figured you were one of those guys.
But it's just one. There's one thing if you're using a bot to scoop up like 500 Xboxes or PS5s. It's one to be like, okay, I'll shell it to 600, then I'll like turn around and sell it for 8 or something like that. Although I do wonder about people who they're so desperate that they have to pay that much more money to get it.
Right. Especially when you know it's coming later, like you know it's going to be available.
Yeah. I imagine it's got to be somewhat like people who are like they just have a lot of money and very little impulse control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or a lot of credit and very little impulse control, which is kind of what I think is the case. But
yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, because for me, it's like, well, I'm going to get it, and what am I going to do with it? Jack shit. I'm going to watch YouTube like I currently do, and Netflix like I currently do off my existing Xbox. So,
well, that's fair enough.
Yeah, because there's no games that I really want to play on it. You know, Cyberpunk's there, but like Witcher, I'll wait like 3 years and then play like this Grand Edition or whatever it is. Has all the DLC and get it on the cheap. And
I think in 3 years they might actually have that game patched and ready to play.
Yeah, maybe
exactly.
3 years. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so there's nothing out there for me on Xbox land that's worth playing right now. Anyways, WandaVision. So.
Oh yeah,
WandaVision. Yeah, this episode, I think some of Nathan, I should more accurately say Nathan's predictions came true. I guess we'll get into there, but let's just talk about the format here. So they got into a little bit more of the modern sitcom. I got like kind of the shaky cam, talking to the camera office vibe. I did look at one review after I watched it, and I guess they were saying it's more Modern Family. What'd you guys think? Did you enjoy the format this week?
I'm actually, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the modern sitcom. So I've never actually, I mean modern as in like our modern age, not Modern Family. I've never really watched Modern Family, but from what I've seen, it's like, I don't know. It's not really for me. I'm the same with The Office. Not really for me. I checked it out. But I like Parks and Rec. And this has that same format of the shaky cam with the slight zoom in and the shakes and then another zoom. The thing though with that, like that modern style of it, like the mockumentary of it, it kind of bugs me after a while, because then I realize like these camera people are just everywhere all the time. and like someone's just folding laundry, and because I kind of, it would sort of bug me a bit. And this was maybe more of a Parks and Rec thing, where it seemed as though someone's at home by themselves, and then someone shows up at their house. But like, what was the camera? Like, they weren't doing anything other than just like watching TV. So like, the camera crew was just filming that. I don't know. It just kind of gets under my skin a little bit after a while. And I knew that this show was headed there, so I was sort of expecting. It was sort of what I was expecting, I guess.
Jeff.
Yeah, I had never watched Modern Family. I've never seen an episode. I'm aware of the show. I've only seen commercials. But I will say that the modern comedy style, the mockumentary, if you will, which The Office pioneered, I'm way into. I love The Office. That's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Hear, hear.
It's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so good. And the conceit of the documentary is certainly, I feel like one thing that The Office did well is they made the documentary style work. Even it drags on because it goes on for 10 years or whatever, but they kind of finally bring it home at the end of The Office if you watch it.
Yeah.
But
well, there's a good payoff at the end. It's not just
payoff.
Here we go. Yeah, there's actual payoff to that.
That's right. Yeah. So I was happy to see that format this week, even though when the show started, I was hoping we were going to see a little more variety. Like, it's just the family style sitcom in WandaVision. Mm-hmm. And early on, I was hoping that they were going to deviate from that a little bit, but it became clear that that wasn't going to be the case. So, I had to let go of some of my hopes and dreams for the show. But they did a pretty good job with the format. They had Agnes doing the gym to the camera.
Yeah, that's right.
I got a laugh out of that.
And Vision does it once, which
Vision does it once too,
as well,
which is great. Yeah,
which is great. Yeah, so it was good. They were self-aware of it. Like, I feel like that's where it breaks down in the shows, like the actual shows that do that style. Like, it's clearly a documentary, but yeah, like, they're just there and they're watching TV. It doesn't make sense, right? We're here for the most part. They were pretty aware of the documentary style, so I thought they did a really good job this week with the format. I was really happy with it. And that also helps the transition between the sitcom and what's happening outside. Like, it's less jarring and everything kind of fits in. Especially like you guys remember the first scene where Wanda's like sitting for the interview, if you will? Mm-hmm. And she I can't remember what she says. She's like, yeah, everything's fine except for that time, where I expanded.
Expanded the walls of our fake reality, and
that's
it cuts
right.
to the
yeah,
outside
exactly.
the hex, and people are screaming.
Yeah, but it was still
I laughed at that.
The jokey cam. Oh, it was great.
Yeah,
that was a really funny.
Yeah, that was a good joke.
So I was into it.
No, I will echo what you said. I was into the format. Did remind me of The Office, like yourselves. I have not seen 1 second of Modern Family, so I don't know anything about that show. Parks and Rec, I've seen some of that series, but The Office is amazing. And so I dug the format. What I wish they did a little bit more, I wish some of the jokes as part of that format paid off a little bit more in this episode. I know you had a couple of those look into the camera moments. I did laugh at some of this, especially from Agnes's perspective when she was talking to the camera. I enjoyed that. I just wish the Vision and Wanda stuff paid off a little bit better. I didn't really get a kick out of what was going on with them with respect to the format. So I wish some of that paid off better. And part of my disappointment with Vision and Darcy getting together, I felt that there wasn't enough there between those two. It wasn't had nothing to do with chemistry. It's just there was no dialogue or situation that really took advantage of Kat Dennings now being inside that. Now I know we have a couple episodes left in the show for her to do something there, but I was a bit disappointed with what was shown here. And she could have really, it started off with potential, like they're kind of in a circus and she's doing something there with the magic trick and all that stuff and the Harry Houdini stuff. And I just wish there was more going on there, but that's just me. So let's move into Wanda and her losing a bit of the control over the fake reality here. So what's your take on this, guys? Anyone can jump in. What does that signify, if anything?
I was actually confused as to, I guess, what it was signifying, because she does remark that she doesn't understand how to fix it. So as to why it's happening, I mean, is it happening because she did expand just the overall area so she has less control because it's now too much? or is this part of like a bigger plan? I guess they kind of harped on it like maybe a few too many times. The gag with the kids where like the controller like would kind of go backwards. Speaking of video games, right? They had like an N64 controller.
That's
Eventually,
right. That
it
was
just
awesome.
turns into like Uno cards.
Well,
which I
yeah,
thought was
it was like an N64. Then it went back to the Atari joystick. Then it went to Uno card, and then something else. Maybe a Wii controller later or something.
I think
later they're playing on the Wii, but like in that scene where like the controllers are traveling back, it just ends as Uno cards. And I bet they had to explain to the actors.
I think it was a GameCube controller, wasn't it?
Yes, it was GameCube.
Oh, maybe it was
That's more accurate.
No, I thought it was N64.
I don't know. It had the triggers of the GameCube controller. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure we could.
Oh, maybe.
If only we had the power to rewatch this episode. Check.
No, it's one and done, baby. One and done.
That's it.
I just wish they had the rights to show what they were playing. It's like, yeah, get GoldenEye on there too and other stuff. And
oh, that would be great.
Nobody has the rights to that video game. I don't know if you. It's gone.
That's right.
It's gone.
Get perfect.
Not even Disney can obtain the rights to GoldenEye, the video game.
That's right.
But
go ahead.
But yeah, no, I was gonna say like as far as signifying kind of what it means, I think it's just the why of it is just part of the. It's just adding now, I guess, a little bit to the mystery. Although I did find it was interesting that she was using her powers to actually kind of fix it. Like when things were going sort of wonky in the living room there, she just kind of did her hand wavy stuff and it all went back. So she's kind of in control, but I think that it's just her mental state now is sort of deteriorating a little bit. And so I started wondering if it was an outside force trying to kind of like mess with her mind a little bit and making these things happen. And so because maybe she thinks she's in complete control, like this is all just her, but it's not, right? So maybe it's someone messing with her. I don't know.
Well, we've been wondering about Agnes for a while, like what her deal is, right? Because she's clearly more. We've known that for a while, that she's clearly more than just a.
She's the only other through character, right?
That's right.
I mean, I know, like, I think, like, early on when we saw Emma Caulfield show up and she's kind of the queen bee of the neighborhood, I was like, oh, this is significant. Never see her again. She pops up for like a tenth of a second here.
Quick cameo this week.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about red herrings, so we'll get into Agnes because she turned out to be what's her name? The witch,
Agatha Harkness.
Agatha Harkness. Yeah, so we'll talk about that a bit later. But last week they kind of gave us the indication, the red herring, that people were guessing on that, and they anticipated people would guess on that, and then it looked like she was just part of everyone else because she was kind of hypnotized and gave Vision she kind of looks like she fooled Vision there. She was, playing Vision for a fool. So we'll get into that in a sec. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you, Nathan. It's just, I think because Vision, her thoughts on Vision trying to leave the hex, as they call it. So she's a little upset with that, and it's losing a bit of control in her surroundings. Or it's Agnes or Agatha who is helping deteriorate some of what's going on. We won't maybe not know until next week. Any other thoughts on this? Or
no, I think we're good. Let's keep trucking.
Okay, well, let's talk about Vision and Darcy. So Vision wakes up, sees the circus people who are the former sword soldiers all around him and stuff like that. And him and Darcy get into some minor shenanigans and yada, yada, yada. And then you get some, I guess, funny scenes of Wanda trying to block him going home, and they're trying to drive home, and it's like Vision conveniently forgets he can fly, which he finally realizes at the end of the episode. Oh, yeah, I can actually leave this place. Well,
what did he say? He's like, why am I? Because he has the microphone on his thing. He's like, why am I doing this or whatever? And he just gets up and fucks off. That was great. That was funny.
That was good.
I laughed at that because it was not only that, but there's like literally a microphone attached to like his. Yeah. It's not even his costume. It's like it's him, right? Yeah. And I thought that was pretty funny. Like the other thing that was really great about Paul Bettany was that he's kind of like scratching his head, like the way a person is sort of like they don't know what to kind of do with their hands and they're moving it around, and he's like, "Wait, what is going on?" It was
he scratched the metal plate on the side of his face there. That was very funny.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lady Me.
That's just for context for people who listen to the show. We're doing a live show here. It's like, okay.
That's right. I'm not just randomly saying shit.
Not
Maybe.
like you normally do. Like you normally do.
No, Harry's just trying to activate the Winter Soldier. I say red blip
Lady Me.
being number 10, Lady Me.
That's right. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead, guys. Oh, she says hi. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, welcome to the show. Yeah, what were we talking about?
Well, we were just talking about just sort of scenes with Vision and Darcy. I did actually, I thought it was kind of funny that, like, even when they're in the truck, and I thought, I mean, maybe these scenes aren't necessarily great because they're giving exposition to Vision. Like, it's just Darcy's kind of filling in his backstory for him, but we kind of know it. So I don't know why we need to see it, but it still plays like a bit of a sitcom, which I thought was kind of weird that in this, because she's brought out of it, Darcy, but I thought it was still funny that Vision is still trapped within that reality, because at what point is he doing the interview? Because we've sort of seen that, like, we see, like, there's the television part of it, but we're seeing like an edited version almost that's being broadcast. And so Vision is still sitting down for interviews in multiple spots. And I just the mechanics of that, I just thought were funny just thinking about it. When he finally realizes, because at some point someone would have said, okay, we need you to come over here and sit in the chair and do this interview or whatever. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. But
not necessarily, because it's kind of magic.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I assume that it just was happening, like they actually are going through the motion. It's not just that he just sort of appeared there. Oh, maybe he did. I mean, you are right. It is magic. We established that by the end of the episode. But I still think
they're trapped in the format. So I feel like that's reality for them. So it doesn't, it means nothing for Vision to sit for the interview, because that's just reality. That's like sitting down, having a beer, watching the game for him. It isn't incongruous at all with the normal thing. Like, I feel like that's how each episode goes, right?
I do. But what I mean, though, is that it's, even though sort of knows that it's not real anymore, like he's still kind of going through the motions a little bit. And then I sort of thought it was interesting that the way the scenes are filmed between Darcy and Vision, it's still, I mean, it's sort of, it's hard at this point, it's hard to tell what's cinematic and what's not, but just sort of the interplay itself is within like the modern sitcom format, especially when she has to kind of like put up with like the construction guys and then the crossing guard and stuff like that.
You know what I think they missed in this particular sequence here is anytime on The Office, for example, and I'll assume that on Parks and Rec and all the other ones they did this too, is when they were in the car, it was clear that the camera was like basically a GoPro mounted on the dashboard of the car. Like, you could tell that by the aspect, it kind of had that fisheye quality to it. Whereas here, it was clearly just a camera. Like, I think.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, I was actually, if we rewind just a little bit, the intro.
Yeah.
I actually had to look this up, but the intro is actually from the TV show Happy Endings.
I don't know that show.
Have you guys ever watched that show?
No, I never heard of it.
No.
Never heard of it.
No.
Okay.
The music to me was, like, the beat was The Office, at least in my mind. Like, I could...
to me, it sounded like The Office.
Yeah, the beat was completely The Office today. So, and I guess Modern Family, from what people are saying, so...
Yeah, that's true. I think like the show, like, it's a little more Modern Family. The thing that made me laugh, though, do you guys remember that old... This is like before memes were memes. It's like from 20 years ago. All your base are belong to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it wasn't parodying that. I thought of it because I know that it was like the 20-year anniversary of that, like a couple of days ago. So I thought that was kind of funny, like with all the Wanda stuff. If you pause it,
go ahead. Keep going. No, you go.
Oh, I was going to say at one point in the credits, one of the things says, "I know what you are doing, Wanda."
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was weird and kind of creepy because it goes by real quick. I thought it was like, wait, did I read that right?
Well, what I thought was interesting was until the very end of the credits, it was just Wanda. It wasn't WandaVision.
Yes.
So did
Which,
she
like, well, again,
she-
it's strange that like
Yeah.
she saved Vision but left him in the field.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just shout out to Evan who joined the show. Not sure if he's going to stick around. We're talking about episode 7 today, which just aired today. All right. So any other thoughts with Vision and Darcy? So I guess just did you guys like them together interacting? Or I mentioned already that I felt that I was a bit disappointed. It wasn't the situation that they were in. I just felt that they really didn't take advantage of Kat Dennings here.
Yeah, I think you're
No.
right there. It was sort of underutilized, and especially the setup with the circus, they moved past it pretty quickly, and maybe that is for the best because that might have been a little over the top.
But it's a little frustrating because I feel they dwell on other things and they keep like I sort of mentioned how they sort of show like the house like breaking like the walls of reality kind of breaking down in the house.
Yeah.
And they keep coming back to that, but yet we're not going to have some fun times at the circus. I did laugh at the way they got out of there, and Vision's like, "I can't hear you. I can't hear you." I mean, so it's kind of funny, but I mean, you're right, Harry. There's kind of nothing there between those two. It's fine, but it's not memorable in any way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It was a big setup for very little.
For very little. I mean, she's still around, so I guess she still has more. She might have more to do in future episodes. How many episodes are in this season? It's going to be 9 or 10.
It's 9.
9. So
9. So we only have
Two more.
Two more. So hopefully, Kat Dennings and Darcy / has more to do in the upcoming episodes. So let's move on. So because Wanda's kind of talking to the camera there. I think Evan was asking about what kind of format the show was doing today, and it was more into the Modern Family and Office format. She's talking into the camera, and she kind of needs a me time because she's a bit stressed out because of what happened with Vision last week, and she's separated from Vision. So Agnes comes in and, just spontaneously comes in as she always does. We think based on Wanda's call or beckoning, and she offers to take the kids so she can get some alone time and relax, which she needs because she's a bit stressed. So the kids go off to Agnes's house. And then you guys have to refresh my memory. What else happens with Wanda until she herself? Oh yeah, what'll happen is let's move on to the sword people before we get there. So what's happening outside the Hex is Jimmy and what's her name, Monica Rambeau, are arranging. They're meeting up with another military group as a favor to Monica's mom from Captain Marvel, and she wants to try and get back into the Hex as she talked about before. So they get into that. They arrange this kind of moon vehicle, armored space vehicle that tries to break into the Hex. I'll be honest with you guys, when it was looking from the lower angle to the top angle, I was reminded of Tango and Cash, like that last truck.
It is 100% that truck from Tango and Cash.
You got the same vibe?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it was hilarious. And it's funny, I'd seen the vehicle in one of the trailers, albeit briefly. Because I'd mentioned, I think it was last week when I tried to allude that I know that they try and get back into the Hex, and it was this vehicle. But when I saw it in the show, I mean, it's like, well, that's just the truck from Tango and Cash, basically. It's a little smaller, and I don't know if it has any. What did they have mounted on it? It was like machine guns and
in Tango and Cash. Yeah, they had the bars. They had I guess crash bars or something like that, or something they could hold on to. Plus the machine guns. They don't have a machine gun here, but they got all the bars all around it. It's like, this is our armored vehicle for going to the moon.
Well, and that was the thing that was weird because why would they think that? Because Jimmy actually even asks the woman that Monica knows, oh, is this going to work? She's like, oh, yeah, totally. She'll just glide right through. I'm like, on what basis are you making that judgment? Because whatever, I don't know. I mean, and this was another frustration, I guess, with the episode. I understand why they have to do it, because they have to show the impossibility of. Let me back up. They're going to show Monica going through the wall of the Hex on her own. But how do you do that? You can't just have her just walk up to it because it would seem stupid. So they have to have some sort of failure. And the problem is that this is barely a 25-minute episode. I guess it's not wasted. I guess they have to do it this way. They just spent a lot of time on it for the Tango and Cash truck to turn into a pickup truck.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, that's
so-
right. Yeah, it was a lot of wasted time for that. And the weird thing is like you would think with this director guy from Sword, who's got his, I guess it's also revealed here and confirmed that he's trying to use Vision as a weapon. As you guys have said, that's his interest in Vision. He was not trying to disassemble him. He was trying to reassemble him. I don't know how he became a part, because in Infinity War, the stone was just ripped out of his head. And then you saw in that episode, the episode, which was episode 5, where they showed he was completely disassembled in parts. I'm not sure what he's trying to do to reactivate him that way, but regardless, it's revealed that he's trying to reactivate him for probable use as a weapon against whatever. So he's the bad guy, quote unquote bad guy in Sword.
There is actually a very quick scene earlier with Hayward in this episode. He's talking to the one woman that he escaped with last episode, and it's very brief. And so I was wondering, like, I don't know what he's up to. It's got to be, I think this will kind of come down to like maybe a big Marvel-esque fight. Because he mentions that like getting ready for a launch.
Well,
I don't know if they're going to.
Well, what confuses me is this guy just seems like average Joe Blow. He's got nothing up his sleeve. So part of my disappointment here is Monica's the only person who says, well, you know what? This truck didn't work. I'm just going to walk through it. Wouldn't you think that this director guy would have like ordered some soldiers to try and go through the hex himself? Monica was able to do it.
Yeah, but I think she's able to do it for a specific reason, though.
And what's the reason? Because of her
we'll
connection to Wanda a little bit?
Well, no, she has powers of some kind.
But okay, this opens up another door, because isn't this kind of her origin story to her powers now? Like going through the hex?
So.
That's how I
my
interpreted the
impression.
scene. Because when she goes through the hex, when she goes through the hex, it was a cool scene. The way they shot it, she's walking through, you get all these visual things from all different time periods of what she could be. Because I guess Wanda's at this stage where she's not controlling things as well as she used to be. So you get maybe 70s Monica, 60s Monica, modern Monica. And when she gets to the other side, she's got blue eyes and has some electrical powers.
But don't forget, she's already gone through the hex one.
And I think that's what they established in the last episode, is Darcy tells her, like, your DNA is changing. I believe it's because Monica has passed through the hex twice now, right? She got sucked in, and then Wanda shot her out. So she's been through the barrier, and then because Darcy is trying to warn her, it's like, no, you can't go through again because your DNA is being rewritten. So I think, but you're right, Harry. I think this is like the origin story. I mean, they don't call. I mean, she's had like plenty of names in the comic books, but I think like based on when she comes through and the way she sees the world inside the hex now, I think she's Spectrum now. I don't know.
So remind me, what's her superhero name in the comic?
She's had many. So she's been Captain Marvel. She's been Photon, which was her mom's. We see that, I think, in the 4th episode, where it's like her mom's call sign because she was a fighter pilot. Yeah. And so I think I had to look it up. Spectrum is one of her other superhero names. There might be one or two others. I don't know in the comic books if she just kind of gets tired of a name and picks a new one, or if they just retcon the character over and over again and they give her a new one. I like to think that she's just like, you know what, I'm going to go by a different name now. I'm rebranding. I'm rebranding.
Yeah, rebrand. This old one's out. This old one's tired.
It's about marketing, baby. Yeah. It's all about marketing.
Mm-hmm. So, Jeff, any other thoughts, I guess, as she walks through the hex there?
No, I mean, it was a cool shot. I don't know why she was able to make it through and her
truck was not.
Tango and Cash truck wasn't able to. I guess that's okay. Like Nathan said, that's more of a plot or storytelling thing where you got to show the failure to build up the drama of her going through because you know that it's a difficult journey and all of that. And that's fine. Like Marvel's been doing that for 12 years now where they do stuff like that. So it's fine. I like the character when she came through. The first thing I noted when she landed on the other side, I'm like, what's up with her eyes?
That's right. So they were blue. Then they finally went back to brown.
Yeah, like bright, like luminescent blue. Yeah. So
right out of Dune.
Right out of Dune.
Got the spice.
She's been huffing the spice. 100%.
Yeah, let the spice flow.
I've never seen Dune. I've watched like 5 minutes of Dune, and then I had enough. That's the old version of Dune. I'm looking forward to the new version of Dune, but that's a separate story.
You should watch Dune.
Well, okay, so recommended on the show. That's your next pick. Then we can do it.
Well,
see, that already tells me all I need.
Just as an aside, Nathan and I went to a screening of Dune within the last 3-4 years, right? Like we went,
Yeah, like
watched it
3 or
in the
4 years.
theater.
It was like a double feature with something
It was
that was
a double
equally
feature,
weird.
and
With Gremlins?
It might have been Gremlins, but it's
Surreal, man.
it's 12 hours long. Like,
Well, that's
it's
the thing.
only two. It's like a 2.5 hour movie. And it feels like it's 14 hours. It's 14 hours of David Lynch madness and Kyle MacLachlan with golden blue eyes. But Patrick Stewart's in it. So
I know. I wasn't impressed with what I saw, even
Watch
at
it.
the beginning. Anyways, let's move on. Let's get back.
Read the novel.
I have
guess,
read the
and-
novel. I love it.
Well, then I don't know. Welcome
Hey,
to
guys,
Doomcast, everybody.
Anyways, let's get back on track. Okay, so let's move on. So Monica gets through the hex, and she goes and wants to confront Wanda. So she's trying to, once again, talking sense to Wanda. And I found, again, interesting. Here's the situation. Again, we got someone else. Nathan, you need to push back on the microphone.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Is it my breathing that you hear?
Yeah,
'Cause
I think
wasn't
so.
saying-
I
okay,
think
sorry.
so. It sounds like you're on the beach. You're sitting on the beach earning 20%. So, but let's continue. Yeah. So Monica gets to Wanda's house. She confronts her, and again, I find it interesting. She says, you need to stop what's going on. Something's destabilizing. It's going to destroy everything. I'm not sure where she's getting all that from.
No, because she's warning her of Hayward.
Of Hayward.
That's
Okay,
what
yeah.
she's doing.
Hayward's going to destroy everything. That's right.
Because she says Hayward will burn it down, tries to warn Wanda that Hayward just wants Vision back, right? And it's all about Vision. And then that actually angers Wanda a little bit more, just kind of hearing about that.
That's right.
Because in her mind, Monica is with Sword. Well, that is technically true.
It's
Plus
true.
also
Well,
the drone. Like it was
she's interfering in her shit. She's interfering in her fantasy shit. But again, I agree with you on all that. But again, what I found interesting is that Wanda goes, well, I think Monica says you don't have to be the villain, and she goes, well, maybe I am the villain. It's like I found that interesting. I just keep. But
she was almost
she
was almost distressed though when she said it. I thought.
Yeah, I mean,
because she's upset.
She's upset, but again, I'm going back, and I don't want to go down this road again. I'm just conflicted with this idea of Wanda realizing that she's willing to be a sort of a villain. And not a villain in terms of she's killing people or anything, but she knows what's going on. She knows what's happening to this town, and she's a willing participant. We'll get into what happens at the end of this episode, how much of a willing participant she is or is not. But I find that interesting, but I'm also conflicted on it. And just to elaborate, because we talked about this an episode or two ago, the reason why I'm conflicted on it is because I think Wanda is when we talk about these superheroes, they are role models to young girls. My kids, their favorite MCU hero, I have 2 young girls, is Wanda, Scarlet Witch. So they like Black Widow too, but they like, Scarlet Witch better because of all the magic power. So I'm conflicted on what this means. If a character's willingly coming out and saying, well, yeah, I'm okay to be a villain. What does that mean? I think it's cool. There's layers there. I'm just conflicted with it. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it.
I can understand your perspective. I think we all want these role models, these heroes. Like that's sort of the whole fucking point of superhero comic books and movies and all that is we want that hero, I'll give some credit to Marvel, like in the comic books, where they're willing to blur the lines between some of their heroes. Like they will sometimes they take a dark turn, like they'll go down a different path. Like probably the Dark Phoenix saga is the most famous example of that.
That's right.
But all of their heroes over the years, like they've taken a turn where they've become the villain for a bit. I think.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Jeff? I've been painting my house because I want to sell it. So I've been listening just in the background some older episodes of ours that I haven't edited yet. One of them was we're talking about Star Trek Discovery. And we're talking about we have some of these layers here. And is there going to be a consequence to some of these decisions? So is there going to be a consequence for Wanda saying, hey, I'm okay with being an active participant in controlling, in realizing what I'm doing, in taking these people hostage, we'll find out how much of a participant she's in, right? We haven't gotten to the end of this episode, but she realizes what's going on and she doesn't care. Again, it's reinforced here. is there going to be a consequence for this for Wanda? Because she's already lost Vision before.
Yeah.
So Vision not existing again. Let's just hypothesize, and at the end of this episode, because Vision is a construct of this reality, and maybe the sacrifice is Vision can't be reanimated forever. To me, that's not a consequence because that already happened in Infinity War.
Right.
So what's going to be the consequence? I mean, we can just again hypothesize again. I highly doubt Wanda is going to perish in this miniseries.
No,
She's going to survive.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you factually she won't because she's in Doctor Strange 2.
Okay, so there you go. So what's going to be the consequence to these actions? I'll be honest with you, probably nothing.
No, there may not be. You may be completely correct. There may not be any consequence for Wanda. These types of movies tend to not okay, how do I want to put this? They tend to not give characters consequences. What they tend to do is if they need it, they just give the character a redemption arc. They don't make them pay. They just they acknowledge that something bad happened, but they just give them the automatic redemption arc because we, as the audience, and them as the filmmakers, they need us to love her, and they need, she's going to be a player going forward. So we obviously need to get in her corner. So when you say consequence, no, she's not going to get consequence, but I don't think they're just going to sweep it under the rug either. Like this,
I hope not. I hope not, because I think we need to be fair to what we have talked about on many other episodes of our show, and that's where I'm coming from. Is we are all happy that there's some dark layers here and some arcs for Wanda. But to me, then, if she's going to be somewhat of a participant in being this bad person and selfish, then there has to be a consequence to it. I just hope that they follow through, because to me, that would be a win for Marvel.
Let's take a look at. I think Loki is a good character to examine this question because Loki's been a villain. Has Loki paid the price for anything? Not really, but he's sort of had his redemption moments, and at least enough to keep the audience off balance, to be like, well, do we like Loki or do we not like Loki? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he in between? Where is he? So that's the most they're going to do for these characters that the audience likes. And I think what they will probably do is play off of our built-in sympathy for Wanda. She's already ingrained herself like she's an Avenger. We've seen her do good. We like her because she's a good, likable character. So it makes it easier for them to take her, to give her that redemption arc. But we already like her. She hasn't murdered anybody.
No, she hasn't.
She's mind raped maybe 800 people. But,
that's the Avengers have killed lots of people.
Yeah, the Avengers.
Right? And they kind of get away with it. And that was, at least they tried to talk about it in Civil War to some degree. But at the end of the day, it was all, I imagine it's all swept under the rug anyways.
No, but
when you think about it.
I agree with you, Nathan. What I'm saying here's a fantastic opportunity to do something. They're already doing something different with WandaVision because of the format that they're doing. That's different. That's cool. I'm hoping that they follow through with Wanda and that she has to kind of make some kind of reciprocity to her actions here. There has to be something that goes on. She has to learn something. It's not just going to be one of those G.I. Joe, Yo Joe at the end. It's kind of like a lesson learned. I guess I learned my lesson, Yo Joe. Lesson learned at the end of the series. There should be some permanent consequence.
I hear you. I also think that we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here because, we still now with the introduction and reveal of who Agnes is, I think that we have to sort of re-examine who's been doing what in the show. Literally, her theme song is "It was her all along, and there's nothing you can do to fix it."
Okay, so before we go there, yeah. Go ahead.
No, but what I'm saying, to get back to, I don't want to get into those details yet, but to kind of get back to what you're saying is, I think before we get ahead of ourselves about how the show should wrap up, we still need to see what role Wanda is actually playing in this larger mystery. So if you want to talk about past movies, I'm thinking of Superman 3. If you just end the scene where he's drinking in the bar, if you just end the movie right there, Superman's a drunk now.
Well, that'd be fucking awesome.
You can't, be great. Yeah.
You can't end the movie like that. I mean, you could, but then you have a certain in your mind, you're just okay, this is the Superman character now, right? And until he fights himself in the, what was he fighting in?
It's a junkyard, right? It was a
junkyard.
Yeah.
Junkyard. Thank you. Until he fights himself in the junkyard, like you need that sort of. So I imagine. I'm not saying that. It's pretty unlikely that Wanda will be completely blameless in this, but she's like, I can fix this, right?
I hope
think
so.
that's sort of where they're going.
You're right. You're talking about a redemption arc here, which I mean, I hope they pay. Like these episodes are fucking short. Let's just be honest, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I hope that they give the time to address some of these things. It's a worry of mine. I'm enjoying the show. I just hope they have a payoff here because they're introducing some layers. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so let's move on. So, I mean, Monica, I guess you have to now refresh my memory because Wanda is getting pissed at Monica. She moves Monica back. She pushes Monica away a little bit because Monica's challenging her. And Monica lands. She got some superpowers on her because she's got some electrical energy field around her. But what happens after that? Refresh my memory? I can't remember.
So we've actually skipped a couple of things.
We'll talk about the commercial in a second.
Well, not just the commercial. So the kids at Agnes's house. And then also when the interviewer talks back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I guess, which is kind of related to what we were just talking about with Wanda.
It was, but very quickly, when the interviewer talked back, I found that creepy as fuck.
They did that on The Office. Okay, so they did that on The Office, though. In the later seasons of The
final season.
In the final season of The Office, we did see who was really interviewing and filming the whole entire office. There's a payoff for that, so I don't want to, if you ever watch The Office, I don't want to spoil it all for you.
No.
So I think, but I found the question interesting because they were saying that, maybe you deserve it.
Well, that's what it was. She said, do you think maybe you deserve it? But it was actually just I know late, like we found out later who it was, but just if you go back and listen to it, like it's off. Like it's actually demonic sounding.
No, I don't think so. I don't recall.
No? I found it felt dark though. Like I was taken aback by that.
It felt somber. It just felt like an honest, somber take because Wanda's bitching to the camera. Well, I need some me time and things aren't going right and all this stuff in the Office/Modern Family sitcom format to the camera. And then the guy who's filming the camera just honestly says, well, he's not excited. He's not exuberant. He's just generically spits out, well, maybe you deserve it.
I don't know. I'd still go back and listen to it.
It wasn't that dark, though. Like, they didn't say that. Like,
it's off.
Been a little more sympathetic.
It's off because, well, we may as well just say it. It was Agnes saying it, but at first I thought it was a man.
It's revealed that Agnes says it.
Right, but when I first heard it, I thought it was a man. And
it
so
was
when
a
I
man.
went, I was like,
it was a man. But it's just magic.
But it's not.
We'll get there.
No, because it's like her voice altered. That's why I mean, like I listened to it a couple of times and it's off, like in a weird way. So that's why I thought it was. That's why I was creeped out by it. Not just the fact that it's somebody talking back, but it was. And even she's surprised a bit too, right? But the other thing that we kind of skipped over is we don't have to get into it too much, but I thought it was weird the way Wanda was really harsh with the kids. And I'm assuming that's just like right out of Modern Family. Modern Family's like, look.
Harsh with the kids. I can't remember what you're referring to. I thought they were with Agnes most of the time, except at the beginning of the episode.
Right before Agnes comes over to pick them up, and they ask her like, "Oh, is Dad coming home?" And she's like, "Hey, if he wants to come home whenever he wants." So like,
that's not harsh. That's not. I don't. Man, you got to live in my house. You got to live in my house for a day. You'll find out.
I guess. I don't know.
That's just real. That's just real talk. It's not harsh. The way I look at it is she's just being honest to her kids, saying, "Mommy and Daddy are just going through a bit of time, and if he wants to come home, he'll come home."
I don't know.
I don't know. On a TV show, that's a calculated move.
I would venture a guess. Now, I've not seen Modern Family. I think that fits in. I would assume that fits in with modern sitcom vibes there.
I don't think that's what they were doing.
I think so.
I don't think so.
I don't know what they were doing.
I would disagree with you, Jeff.
I would disagree with you, Harry.
Okay. Yeah, you feel free. You feel free to disagree. I think she was just being honest to her kid. Now, whether you say that to your kids or not is different situation and for debate.
No, I mean, you might not, and you're right. Like that would be up for debate. I'm just saying, in the context of the show, like they're not wasting words. Like they did that on purpose.
Again, I know nothing of Modern Family, but I think that's more, if I'm understanding, because that's just from the title of Modern Family.
Yeah,
I'm hearing.
Yeah,
from what I know of the show, I think it's I think it's more
Sure.
of a, it's not
Sure,
marrying
sure.
children. It's just more of a, I wouldn't say perverse way of looking at family life, but just kind of more the grimy look at family life, how
More of
how they parody it.
more of a, I don't know, what would you say, like a modern look at a family, maybe?
Wait, where's my where's my clap button for you? I'll clap that. That was there. You go.
There we go. There it is. Why is it the first time you've ever used that?
Well,
I'm now
gonna do this.
Oh boy,
guys, got the soundboard. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
I need to find out how I can get some Arnie quotes on here.
It's been a lot. Way overdue, man. You're 5 years late on that, but I'm glad you got it down. No, but I mean, like every time they do shit on this show, even when they're playing
it's a direct reference to something.
It's something like it means something. Yeah, like even when they're doing the trope, even when they're playing against the episode that they're doing the homage to, it's meaningful past the point where it's like, well, this is what they would have done on that show, so we're just doing it because it was on the show. It's that plus what it means for this show, but it possibly doesn't mean anything past the fact that Wanda and Vision now have a wedge between them, and I think that is what they're saying. But it's hidden under the sitcom veneer, where this is what they would do on Modern Families.
I know, but
they do that, but it means something more underneath. Though it's like actually they are separate. They're separate for the whole episode.
They're separate. But I mean, this is also part of sitcom tropes. It's any trope.
But
the married couple will have
issues. It is, but it's more than that. Like they're using in this show, in WandaVision, every trope they use means something for the overall story.
I agree with that, Jeff. I'm just saying, I'm going back to your creepiness factor of what she said to the kids. That's all. Anyways, continue.
No, that's it.
I can't believe my one line here really opened up a can of worms.
Okay. Anyways, but let me ask you, because I think Evan is still listening, and he asked a question. So,
Sure.
So this will be to you, Nathan. Isn't Doctor Strange 2 in Phase 4? So if Wanda, I think Evan heard that you said Wanda is going to survive. That would Doctor Strange 2 would be in Phase 4, and that means Wanda would probably be in that movie. Is that correct?
Yes, that's my understanding. So I think I'm not exactly sure when Phase 4 is supposed. I guess because of the pandemic, things got screwed up. But
Black Widow is the first movie of Phase 4, supposed to be.
But I think it was a bit of an intermission, Black Widow. And then I think it was supposed to be maybe Eternals was the start. And then even the TV shows got shifted around. But my understanding, because when Elizabeth Olsen has been doing press rounds for the show, she's been asked about Doctor Strange 2. She doesn't really talk about it, but she's currently in London filming it. And they haven't really set. So I know in the previous movies, they kind of find exactly what the phases were. They haven't really technically defined what Phase 4 is, like as far as like what it incorporates. It's a little bit of guesswork on the part of fans. Marvel Studios hasn't given us like the concrete answer. They've given us all the movies, but they've also given us lots of movies that they announced that they're doing Fantastic Four. No idea if that's Phase 4. But
Phase 3 is over, though, right? Like Phase 3 ended with Spider-Man: Far From Home, right?
Why wouldn't that be Phase? Anyways, this is that's just minutia. But I mean, I would think that would have been your transition movie.
Well, they did the same thing with
with Sony. I think that's part of the problem. It's a Sony movie, and Sony's like, well, we want this movie out right now, and because it's so soon after Endgame, it has to deal with the consequences. So like, well, it's the epilogue. It'll be the end of Phase.
Oh, okay. I kind of figured Endgame's the end of Phase 3.
Didn't they do the same thing with Avengers and Age of Ultron? Like it was the movie. It was Guardians of the Galaxy was the end of Phase 2 or 1 or whatever, right? And it wasn't like Ant-Man the end of Phase. Like it wasn't the Avengers movies. It was the end of the phase. It was the movie after that because it was like the epilogue. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. In the end, I'm not a fan of these phase.
It doesn't fucking matter is really what we're saying.
It really doesn't. But that's just what Marvel, just to kind of get back to the question, if I'm understanding the question correctly. Yeah. So I think Doctor Strange 2 will be part of the mythical Phase 4, but they haven't really defined it like that. And again, it was just it's just a lot of marketing, just kind of get like fans hyped up and stuff like that. I don't know. I didn't mind it. It doesn't. I mean, you're right. It means nothing.
No, it's fine. It's just part of
Yeah.
it's part of the structure. It helps all of us fanboys to compartmentalize this in our brains because we have
A little bit,
deficiencies.
Anyways,
Yeah,
let's get back to
WandaVision.
WandaVision. So what I want to do a little segue on, which is a segue from a segue, is the commercial. So, time is the fire in which we burn. This has to be no coincidence whatsoever. The commercial was talking about this drug, which is called the Nexus.
The Nexus, yeah.
And the fantasy world that this bubble is either from Wanda or we'll talk about it later, who might have created this thing. And with Kevin Feige being a Star Trek fan, this has to be where this comes from. Unless, Nathan, you've got something up your sleeve a deep cut from Marvel Comics. What does Nexus mean, gentlemen? My take was the Nexus from Star Trek.
I love that theory. It would be kind of funny if maybe just Wanda is a Star Trek fan and she kind of threw that in there for herself. I have an answer unless, Jeff, you want to...
No, it's all you.
Oh, okay. So I don't have to get too deep into it because I don't know where they're going to go with it. So the Nexus is in Marvel lore. I mean, it's kind of similar to the Star Trek Generations Nexus in that it's kind of like a gateway to other dimensions. Now, there's a whole bunch of other stuff with there's Nexus beings and whatnot, but it's sort of to describe, the gateway to the multiverse, I guess, in Marvel.
So this is an actual thing from the comics.
Yes, and I believe they even used it recently in Fortnite when they had a Marvel crossover. They called it Nexus.
They also announced Palpatine's return in Fortnite, so that means jack shit.
Oh, that's true. I think it's totally unrelated. But I mean, no, this is a Marvel thing, the Nexus. And there is some, I don't want to get into too much because it might be spoiler territory, but there is in the comic books, some relation to the idea of the Nexus and Scarlet Witch.
You buzzkilled my high. You destroyed my high.
Sorry.
I thought this was only
in your head,
Star Trek.
In your head canon.
You were hoping to see Captain Kirk again and
yes,
in the Nexus, frying some eggs, but he can't find the dill.
Can't find the dill. That's right.
Fuck him.
It's in the top shelf.
Yeah,
whatever it's called.
No, in your head canon, it could be that this thing has no name, and Wanda just really likes Star Trek Generations, so she names it the Nexus. And she's trying to.
I guess we should explain to Evan in the event that Evan knows nothing of what we're talking about, because Evan is still online. The Nexus was this fantasy reality. If you get sucked into it in Star Trek, you live whatever life you want. It brings you happiness and joy. It's a fantasy reality. People who are dead can be alive. You do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. So that's what it was.
You can ride horses and jump them over chasms.
And
you can cook some eggs. You can chop some wood.
You won't remember what the deal is, but you will have the dopest Christmas tree ever.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
You also burst your bubble there, Harry, on the Marvel.
And Evan says dill is the best. So
I can't disagree with that.
That's right.
No, can't disagree. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. On eggs, especially.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, WandaVision? Was that what we were talking about?
Yeah, it was. So, and I think that's just what this commercial is, again, just kind of alluding to is the Marvel Nexus. So I know, Jeff, you kind of mentioned, I think it was last week, you didn't like the idea of the multiverse being added to the cinematic world. It's fine in comics and stuff. I hate to break it to you, but I think that this is they're bringing you in for a landing on the multiverse when they're throwing out the terms like the Nexus in this show.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, they're only mentioning the Nexus. She's only in a movie called The Multiverse of Madness. We'll see.
They've thrown a few smoke bombs at us before, so that's all I'm saying. But what I did like
they're carpet bombing us now, man.
Yeah, maybe so. What I did like about the commercial was towards the end, they did a cool of the commercial. They did a cool shot where the lady in the commercial, she's lying in bed and then she's taking it, but then she walks towards the camera.
Walks away.
But she's still in the perspective of being in bed, right? So she's walking upwards. That was a great shot.
That's completely multiverse.
No, that's just a commercial.
Yeah, it's signifying the multiverse. That's my
no.
take.
It's just it's signifying. It doesn't signify anything. They were just doing.
It means she's high. She took some drugs. She's high.
Well, yeah, duh.
She's tripping balls.
She's tripping. So, but what was the line they said though? She said, "Did you guys remember the line at the end? That was a good line. It was perfect for the episode." What did she say?
It's funny. I meant to write it down. I thought it was so good I didn't have to until right now. I couldn't. It was like when you're ready because the world doesn't revolve around you,
or does it? Yes, that was perfect. I love that because that's the show. That's the whole show.
Yeah.
Because because we're discovering now, like the world revolves around Wanda, and yet it doesn't, because there's another player now. That was great. That was fantastic.
Let's move on. So really, there's only one scene, major scene left in the show, because we talked about Monica confronting. Well, just tell me what happened to Monica after she confronted Wanda. Refresh my memory.
Agnes shows up.
Oh yeah, and takes her away. Says, "Oh yeah. She needs some alone time. I'm just going to rescue you from this outside force."
Wanda,
that's right.
Exactly. But then Wanda threatens Monica, says, "Don't make me hurt you," and so Monica is just kind of left standing in the street.
That's right. So then Agnes brings Wanda back to her place where she's supposedly babysitting the kids. And I guess Wanda has some kind of realization that she sees the kids half-eaten sandwiches there. And she goes, "Well, where's the kids? Where's Billy and Tommy?" And she goes, "Oh, I think they're in the basement." Wanda goes down there. She's calling for him and goes down there. Now, because I watched this in the fucking mid-afternoon, because I said I was painting my house. My curtains are down. I had this sun beating down on my TV screen. I had so much glare. I couldn't make out what was going on in these scenes. I know she was in the basement, but I have no idea what she saw. You guys will have to inform me. It looked creepy. Then Agnes is revealed to be Agatha. What, Nathan? Agatha
Harkness.
So
let me look it up. I might be misremembering the name. But
Agatha.
Keep going on.
So Harry, you're saying you didn't see the scene where Scarlett Johansson walked in topless and started doing magic spells in the cauldron where Tony Stark emerged his reanimated corpse as a zombie now. So you're saying you didn't see any of that? Jesus Christ. We got a lot to talk about now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And you didn't see the part where Bob Iger signed the contract to buy Warner Brothers, and then Ben Affleck's Batman walked into the scene and punched Agnes square in the face. You didn't see any of that? You didn't see any of that?
No.
Man,
no.
Why are we even doing the podcast? I'm trying to buy Nathan time to look this shit up. His Googles are slow today.
Yeah, no.
And then Sylvester Stallone's Judge Dredd.
Oh, give me a break. Okay, let's
in.
go. Let's continue, guys. Let's continue.
So
yeah, I'm pretty
it,
sure
actually,
it's Agatha Harkness from Evan. That's right.
Yes.
So Nathan, why don't you tell me, refresh our memories here. We also have Dose with an exclamation mark. So I said it excitingly. Is he entered the live studio, he or she? So hello, Dose. Anyways, who's Agatha Harkness again? She's
Agnes.
a witch. Yeah, no,
she's So
who
in
is
the comic, she is. She's a relatively minor character. I'm not even sure she's been in the comics for a while, but she's mostly been kind of like a mentor character to Wanda to kind of help her. The thing with like powers and stuff like that, it's all weird because like Wanda's a mutant, but she has like magic powers. But Agatha's character who would like mentor her. And there's other stuff like other storylines that actually do kind of involve Wanda's kids and Agatha. I won't get into it too much because I don't know if they're going to pull any of that for the show. But the basement I thought was kind of creepy, right? Because Wanda walks in there and has actually got actually before we go down into the basement, there's a couple of weird, creepy things that happen. She sees like the television show, like it's the kids show. It's got a great like sing along, jumpy jump, jump, jumpy jump, jump, jump. It's ridiculous, but I found it catchy. But it was like these weird characters in suits. It looks like a kids show, but when you look at it, like these weird, almost demonic looking creatures on like a weird set. I would actually recommend go back and look at it, and it's weird. Like it's weird and creepy, I thought. And then there's this giant bug that Wanda looks at, and they give it like a big shot. That may be a red herring, or it might be the next Thanos. Who knows? So I'm just going to say don't look it up because it could be potentially a spoiler.
Well, I don't look anything up outside of this podcast.
Okay, good. So, or anyone listening, like I suspect it's a red herring. It's a thing for fans. The thing with the bug. but I made the mistake of looking it up, and I wish I hadn't. But in the basement, like it's weird, right? Because it's
Okay.
dark. There's these red lights, and then there's
just hold on. So
yeah.
I think I don't know, Evan, if you're still listening, you mentioned Yo Gabba Gabba is pretty weird. Did you just talk about Yo Gabba Gabba? Sorry, I was distracted with this other person who was in this Dose character.
Oh no, I did not mention.
But
Yo
here's
Gabba
the thing.
Gabba.
So I don't know what Yo Gabba Gabba is, but I remember when I saw a review of today's episode, someone had mentioned Yo Gabba Gabba. I have no idea what the fuck that is.
That might be like a real Marvel deep cut that I'm not aware of.
Could be. Evan, you can feel free to say something else, but
so they did.
Continue. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I mean we were going to talk.
It's a short. Okay, Yo Gabba Gabba. It's a short with stick-looking characters. Okay, there you go. I don't know what that is.
They did like the alternate opening with Agnes there. Like it was Agnes all along.
That's right.
That was I love that. That was great. Little interlude there.
Oh, that was charming as fuck. That was great.
Well,
that was fantastic.
That's how the show ends, though. So, like, kind of leading up to that, we see her basement and then the reveal and everything. There's also like a book down there. I don't know if Harry, maybe it was too dark to see it, but Jeff, did you see that book?
I did not. No.
Okay, so there's and it really evoked like a Doctor Strange vibe, because if you remember in Doctor Strange, you had the library with all these books and stuff like that, and some were chained up, and so I paused and I was looking at the book. Like, I don't recognize the symbol on it or anything like that, so I don't know if we'll. I think it's going to play some part in the next couple episodes, the book. But yeah, if we want to kind of get into the Agatha all along show, I thought that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
This part was awesome. But sorry, you're gonna have to refresh my memory, guys. What else did she see in the basement? Because all I saw was that when Agatha said, "Oh, you're not the only person with magic in this town," she waved her hand, and you see the purple magic around Wanda appear. What else was down there in the basement? Did we see anything, or was it just too dark, or revealed?
It's dark. There's like vines everywhere. There's like a couple of display cases like with red lights, but it's a little out of focus. I'm assuming it's like skulls and like animal skulls. I think we'll get a better look at, like, so I paused it and I was looking around in the room and there's like symbols and stuff. So I think it's, very evil witch-esque type of iconography. I couldn't really pick anything out that's like really worth talking about, other than they have a long shot of this book that seems to be like radiating energy out of it. But, then the shot's gone and then Agatha introduces herself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I guess that's kind of where the episode ends. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think anything else happens.
Well, we see, what was kind of interesting is that, like, the song that I didn't write down all the lyrics, but I mean, it basically goes Agatha all along, and it's too late to fix anything. And we sort of see Agatha like behind the scenes. Even the very first episode, it's kind of weird because it shows her kind of like almost like flying down to the front of Wanda and Vision's house, but it's in color, and then it switches to the black and white, which is where I'm kind of getting this vibe of where in the hex, where does what Wanda's doing, like, where does that start and end, and where does Agatha start and end? Like, what's the interplay there of the thrust of the show of who's controlling what? So,
and she's the one who killed the dog too. So
yes, and that's the other thing. It's like
she's got
to be the antagonist, because you can't say, "Oh, and I killed the dog too," which was very.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Very Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of John Wick memes out there today.
Yeah.
Wanda's got to go after
Keanu Reeves just shooting her in the head, knocking her to the ground, and then putting a bullet right in her face while she's laying. That's
what she deserves. You can't kill the dog.
I guess so. Can't kill the dog.
You cannot kill the dog. No, you've got nothing coming to you. That's good.
Yeah, but I want to say this. We've talked about her already. Catherine Hahn?
Catherine Hahn, yeah.
Yeah, she's fucking fantastic.
She's great.
She's great. To me, if you want my honest opinion, she's a star. She's a star of this miniseries, and everyone's fantastic. But I think she has steeled the show. Every time she's on screen, she's amazing.
She has like really great flourishes when they're kind of doing the little bits of the things that she's doing in the show, and the way she'll kind of like look at the camera. But there's all the other little ways that she moves and stuff. Like, it's so perfect. Like
Yeah,
that almost needs
yeah.
its own show.
Yeah, it's a shame that I haven't looked at her IMDb page or anything like that, but I wish I've seen more of her in different things, because every time she's on screen, it's like I perk up. It's like, oh, sweet, the scene's gonna be more magical in a sense, and so that's star power right there. So hopefully her future is brightened from her participation in this miniseries. So, is there anything else in this episode, gentlemen, or? Are we, Jeff, any other comments on these last scenes here?
I don't think so. I mean, we had the post-credits stinger this week.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up. But yeah, go ahead. Roll into it. I mean, it's not much there. You just see...
No, there's nothing there, right?
Yeah, you just see Monica, I guess, hover around the house. It's either Agnes's house or
because it was... Quicksilver shows up again there in the
and he goes, you snooping, and it cuts away.
But he had
Snooper's gonna snoop.
Yeah, Snooper's gonna
that's
snoop.
Right.
That's
but
right.
Didn't he have like the purple magic energy going on around him?
That was weird because
I didn't see that. So go ahead.
I didn't see that, but I saw that Monica's eyes. I couldn't tell if Monica's eyes were purple,
they were gone,
or were they the blue from when she came through, like the way she came through the hex. The color wasn't. I couldn't quite pick it out.
I think they were the blue.
Yeah.
I think they were I think her eyes were the blue when she, but I feel like.
But not the Harkness purple.
No, I feel like Quicksilver had the purple, had the Harkness purple.
Okay.
Going on. That's what I read from that, but I guess we don't have any answers yet from there, so we'll just see what's up next time.
That's right. I guess Evan did ask, isn't there something in the credits like I'm watching you or something? I mean, I'm not sure if I get that feel. I mean, there's a vibe to the after credits sequence there. Not this Monica and Quicksilver stuff, but just the music. It's a little ominous, but I don't get anything there. I'm not sure about you guys.
I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting read because you're kind of watching the TV screen for a lot of it, and it does end on. I'm not the only one to point this out, but each episode ends on like a zoom into Vision's eye, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it kind of does have that's an interesting interpretation. You could sort of see it as like there's someone like watching this TV show along with us, right?
Which is true. We know that we know that Sword is watching the show. Like Darcy was watching. She even referenced the name. She's like, I've been watching WandaVision for the past week. And she even called the show by the show's name.
Well, so I mean, because the show itself, I imagine that they would be
called
the show
WandaVision.
It's called WandaVision, but I imagine they see like the title openers as well.
Right.
So
exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this sucker up. We're at 1 hour and 30 minutes. Long past
longer than the show. 3 times the show's length.
3 times the show's length. So, Nathan, your thoughts? What'd you think of the show? Was it one of your favorites or least favorites? And any other comments you might have?
I don't know. It's a little middle of the road. I want to hold off giving like any true final judgment to any one episode until the whole show is out. But right now, this feels like just kind of like a connector episode. It's like, well, we're just we got to move things along. I wish they had done more with the Modern Family format. I guess this kind of happened last week a bit as well, where we didn't get enough of the show format, I thought. I guess it was inevitable because you have to intercut what's going on outside the hex. I don't know. It has some interesting reveals. I mean, it makes sense that you'd reveal who the antagonist is at this point because we're going into like the third act of the TV show as a whole. One thing that I thought about, I mean, it would never happen, but I made myself laugh just thinking about it. At one point, Agnes, like in one of her interviews, she says something to the kids like, oh, I don't bite. And then she says, oh, I bit a kid once. And I thought,
oh, yeah, that's great.
I thought it'd be, and I knew that this wouldn't happen, but I'm like, oh man, what if she's a vampire and Blade shows up in the show? Like
that'd be great.
Bunch of techno music going, and he's coming in, motherfuckers.
Strobe lights everywhere.
Ice skate uphill. Oh yeah, blood rave. Oh yeah, I was just. It was such a weird and actually, I'll give the show some credit. I was really not. Especially after last week's, I did not think that she would be revealed as the antagonist. I was really thinking that it was Quicksilver at this point for whatever reason. So kind of good on them to kind of pull that off, even though I think they were maybe hinting a little bit too hard in the marketing that she was Agatha Harkness. I mean, they just know that the Marvel fans are just going to be able to pull that one out even before the show starts. So,
Okay, well, Jeff, I'll give you the last word. As always with this miniseries, I'm enjoying every single episode. I'm looking forward to every single week. However, I mean, I thought they struck a decent balance with the format and what's going on in the show. I mean, they've got to wrap this sucker up now. We talked about there's only 2 episodes left, so they're not going to dedicate a lot of time to the format. Be that as it may, I'm a little disappointed. I really, week after week, and I think that's kind of one of the drawbacks of the show. You start off so strong in the sitcom format in the first few episodes to almost have that. It's not an afterthought, but it's secondary now to what's going on. It's disappointing because I feel like it's a missed opportunity, and that might be a result to the length of these episodes because they're not very long. So, and there's costs and money and scheduling to consider here when you're creating these shows, and, everything is about making money, and it's a business, and you got to find the right balance. And are they finding the right balance? I guess so. But I am a bit disappointed. Be that as it may, I'm still engaged, I think, but I'm still a bit, from a story perspective, I don't know. If I'm watching the show without you, Nathan, without us talking about it, maybe I'm a bit more surprised with the reveal of Agnes being this character. And
I'm really kicking myself for mentioning it last week.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
I honestly thought it would be like, they're just throwing out red herrings for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this like in episode 1 or 2. I mean, all the way back there. And you said it right. Marvel, people who know the lore and Marvel Comics will pick up on this right away.
Yeah.
So there's only so much that Feige and all of these writers and producers can hide because they're relying very heavily on this source material, which is the comics.
Yeah.
So I have to let things go. I mean, spoilers are out there, I guess, and people know things, but I'm still enjoying it. I mean, yeah, the surprise is slightly ruined, but that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying myself. So still looking forward to what happens next. And right now at this stage, I'm more interested in what the consequences are with the character of Wanda and what's going to happen to Vision. So I hope they have a payoff at the end of the miniseries here, or moving forward. But as an episode, I don't know if it's the strongest episode. Again, Agnes, I think, was the strongest point of this episode. I do recommend it as always. This miniseries is pretty strong. I'd say it's a mid-tier so far from what we've seen. Jeff, what do you think?
Wow, straight up, this was my favorite episode of the series.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought.
Why is that?
Well, it could be a combination of a few things. The format is this is what's near and dear to my heart because I love The Office so much.
It's got to be more than that, though.
Well, that's part of it. I thought they struck the right balance between the sitcom and the MCU spectacular, as the original sort of promo lines went for the show. As a combination of those two things, I thought they struck the right balance. And it felt like the transition fit. It wasn't jarring. And we got some reveals. Everybody had, the characters had good comedic moments that were relevant for the series. It just felt like it just hit on all cylinders for me today. Yeah, it was great. I really liked the episode. Thought it was excellent. The last couple of weeks were disappointments for me because I felt they didn't lean into the format hard enough. And maybe I think their advantage now is because it's easier. The modern comedies now, they're more like what we see outside of comedies. They're closer to dramas and how they're shot and the structure. They just have the laughs. So it's, even if they don't lean in hard to the format, they can pull it off a little bit more perhaps because the format doesn't rely on them leaning into it. They can cheat maybe a little bit because the camera works the same as a regular TV show or a movie. The dialogue's kind of the same, other than those interview points, right? So maybe they get away with it a little bit more, but it feels like it's a better fit. Maybe that's what it is. Is this sitcom, this show, the Modern Family, The Office, or whatever, the Parks and Rec? Maybe that's a closer fit to the overall show. It doesn't have to be shoehorned in. They don't have to lean into the format a little bit more. It just lends itself easier to what they're seeing on the outside. So maybe that's why. But yeah, I liked it. I laughed. We got some reveals. Vision was, I like to see Vision as well. Maybe that was a big piece that we haven't seen before. As Nathan said, he's like the part where he just scratches his face when he's in the interview. I know that's a small thing, but man, that was so funny. I love seeing Vision as Vision, but he's still just a dude. That's funny.
I hope they
common.
keep Paul Bettany as Vision because we didn't get enough of him in the movies. I think it's an interesting character, and I hope that it doesn't end here.
No, I agree. But that's funny. Like just seeing him there in this ridiculous outfit, talking like a regular guy. That's funny. Very funny.
It is funny. There's potential for the character, both of Wanda and Vision. The only problem is when you start getting back into these MCU films, they're not getting standalone films. So they're going to revert back to where they were before in the MCU. They're going to be background characters. Let's just be honest. So
unless they get
I
their
hope
own.
that's not the case, but
you can get like a smaller team up movie, right? You can kind of do that.
They're B-listers. They are B-listers. Yeah. So their place is headliners of a half-hour comedy show, and it works great.
Yes.
And or as supporting characters in a major movie, mostly as I don't want to say necessarily the comic relief, but as the lighter characters. Paul Bettany has been the comic relief in the MCU since 2009, and Elizabeth Olsen she hasn't been comic relief, but she's been a solid supporting character, but she hasn't been a headliner. She's had some great moments, but that's who they've been. And they've been great at it. I don't need to see a Wanda movie.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But my point is, I hope they don't end up like, say, the quote unquote legacy characters from Star Wars for the sequel trilogy.
But every character is going to be the legacy character eventually, right?
Yes.
That's the natural evolution. And
you're
actually
right.
I prefer that they do that as opposed to try to recast them.
It's not about.
Let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Okay. Well,
no one in the MCU, unless your name is Terrence Howard.
I'm editing that shit out, Jeff.
Yeah. You edit it all you want. I'm bringing it back every episode.
Yeah, you go ahead and bring it back. It gets thrown the fuck out. Anyways, that's it for today's episode of a podcast of Rare Antiquities. Episode 7.
Should have brought Terrence Howard. They should bring Terrence Howard in, like you said.
No, I was just saying, unless your name is Terrence Howard, you can always come back to the MCU. That's the only one who ever died in any of these movies.
And stayed dead. Yeah.
And stayed dead. Yeah.
I guess so. That was an accident. Anyways,
but a well-placed
I like to think it was on purpose because we said something so profound.
Every time anybody says Terrence Howard, you got to do that sound effect.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That was on purpose. All right, guys. I guess that's it for today. I will talk to you guys next week.
All right, I can't wait.
So just as we're on the show still. Next week, it is my birthday on Friday. I'm probably not available for the show. So you guys can go on without me. I will sacrifice that. But you guys might be on your own next Friday.
Well, happy birthday to you. I'm giving you this.
It sounded as genuine as any happy birthday.
Where was the soundboard before?
Really no kidding. Why is it taking you so long?
It's because we're doing the Podbean live thing. It's like I don't get this in Skype, guys. So
we got to do this forever now.
That's right.
We need this.
That's right. So again, I guess an advanced happy birthday to you, Jeff. But we can wait for you for whenever you come back. It's not a problem. So.
Okay, well, we can work that out later. I just wanted to. I don't want to give our fans a false sense of hope that we were going to definitely be back next Friday.
Yeah, they're clamoring with anticipation for us to do it next Friday. So,
but now that we got the soundboard, everybody's fucking keyed up and ready to roll.
All right. Well, anyways, whenever we record next, I look forward to it, and see you guys next time.
All right, it's been fun.
Good.